All right. So we're gonna be festive today. Chat, how you doing? So a couple things. Like one, today's gonna be a little free form, no topic, but we do have special guest, and we'll bring in special guest.
Well, pardon me. Hi.
For those that have been around for a while, you guys know my wife. Uh, she goes by Chibi Faith. This is her digital avatar. So in the community that she's in, doing like a digital avatar is called VTubing. And if you need more explanations, feel free to ask a question. At Bentley Pasco makes it super easy for me to see your questions. We're going to do this kind of free form and open. We will have a number of giveaways tonight, and the way they work is going to be super simple. One thing that I will ask, and I'm sure we'll get some questions in a minute, but I have to go grab something. Put this in chat. If anyone in chat, and I'll probably have to say this multiple times, if for some reason you want a super chat or something, I would instead ask you to do something for me. Um, I've talked about this before, but like Papalimo's best friend in the whole wide world was this Onyx husky, husky named Onyx. Geez, my brain not functional. Anyway, he unfortunately recently passed, but in the before that, when his family, who were very good friends of ours, were trying to recover him from a pretty serious intestinal issue, they racked up a massive vet bill. So if you were to some reason want to super chat, I would instead ask you to donate to their. It's kind of like GoFundMe, but it's not exactly GoFundMe. We'll put it that way. Oh Lord, hold on. My copy paste from Discord is like absolutely garbage. You gotta fix it. But this is it. I'll put it in. I'll pin it and all that kind of stuff. There we go. But so if for some reason you were thinking of like super chatting, I would instead ask you to whatever that amount of funds was, whether it was $1, whatever, put it in the gift account. Just help our friends out. Like that was effectively speaking, like Papalino's big brother is his best friend with all world. And I would rather do a little good that way than do stuff on my channel. If that makes sense. So yeah. With that being said, man, good to see a good number of you hanging out. We got a week till Christmas, basically. It's gonna be wild. So if it's not obvious, like next week won't be streaming. But if you have any questions, whether it's for me or this one, my wife, the digital avatar that is my wife. She's not an actual person. She's secretly just an anime girl.
Yes, I'm not real, I promise.
But if you have a question, like feel free to do at Bentley Pasco. It makes it super easy for me to see. This will be pretty free form, but we'll get into like the first giveaway relatively soon. So just be prepared for that. But hang around; it'll be pretty easy. Pretty sure Nightbot is working correctly. In fact, we can easily check this. We'll just put the first one in chat now. So if you do, I don't know if it properly said anything, but we'll check it. Do hashtag Fishmas for me. That'll put you in the first one. I kind of need to validate that this is working correctly. Yeah, Nightbot didn't screw up. Last time I tried to do a giveaway, man, Nightbot was giving me a heck of a headache. So
That's right.
it was like, I don't want to work. It's like, but you're all the settings you should be. Anyway, yeah. We'll let this run for a little bit, but here's how all the giveaways are gonna work. Okay. They're all gonna be $50 gift cards. In general, what I'm gonna ask is that for the winners, I'll pretty much let you choose where you want them to. And what I would ask is like, choose a small fish business of your choice that I can do that to. So Dan's Fish is an example. I'm pretty sure KG Tropicals, Keep Fish Keeping allows gift cards. Aquarium Co-op does gift cards. I'm sure there's like a million that I don't know off the top of my head. But basically the winners, once they're chosen, That's what you're going to win. So we're going to have to email each other. I'll give you an email. There's only two small stipulations I ask. Number one, be a subscriber. Yeah, it's like casual way to try and pump my numbers up if you're not subscribed, but most of you are. And number two, you will literally will have to email me so that I can get everything arranged. But it'll be pretty easy. Most companies allow for digital gift cards these days where it's really simple. I can make a purchase and it just shoots it to your email. I don't need any of your personal information, any crazy nonsense like that. So should be pretty easy peasy. Oh man. All right. We had some questions, so let's get to them. Gary Duncan, is red cherry shrimp easier to keep than any other color of Neocaridina shrimp? We asked the not very good at shrimp guy a shrimp question. So to answer that, most of the basic Neocaridinas are relatively easy. Where it's easier, I'm going to put this in big quotation marks, is because the cherry shrimp have been done for so long, the genetics are so locked in that when you go to breed them, it is a lot easier to keep the line really clean and not have to cull very often. With something like a green jade shrimp or black rose, you will actually throw quite a number of off-color shrimp that you will have to cull if you want to keep your line like really, really clean. So it just comes down to most of them are all pretty healthy if you go the basic, like blue, red, yellow, orange. Those are all pretty solid lines, and the difference in keeping them is really minimal. Yes, reds are slightly easier, but if you're looking at something like a blue or a yellow, don't be too stressed about it. The difference comes down to when you need to cull, and it's less common in the blues and the yellows and the reds, where you need to cull like off-color shrimp, where you'll pop a random brown shrimp out, or some other out of the color spectrum that you're trying to keep to. But the numbers get a lot less with the more common ones. When you start getting to like the green jades or the black roses, some of those, that sort of becomes a little more common. But it's pretty easy. You're just looking for the shrimp that are off color, catching them, and maybe putting them somewhere else, or feeding them to a tank that has really big fish or rainbows, because rainbows are jerks, and eat all the shrimp. Hope that helps. We got one more question. Maybe it's two. Johnny from Dan's Fish. Bringing in Black Rose is a nightmare. By the time they're ready to sell, there are so many reds and blues. So there you go. There's a great example from a fish seller. Casual. Let's help Johnny keep his job by getting gift cards to Dan's Fish. Not that I'm gonna really be a title shift in the the difference there. They're doing just fine. Oh man, I'm a weirdo. Okay, Wei Ming, question for the wife: Are you anticipating for My Dress Up Darling season 2 in 2025?
I actually haven't heard of that. I'm so sorry.
Fake anime girl.
What? I'm a classic anime. Okay, like I enjoy like old school Fruits Basket. Okay, like that's like my jam.
It is true. You don't watch a lot of newer shows when they come out. I think like the newest show we've watched is only because it was on Netflix, was that Delicious in Dungeon. But most of the other
Yeah,
shows
it's
that
fun though.
we tend to watch are usually like a couple seasons in, or are older animes that have completed. Fruits Basket is something that my wife watches all the time
Yeah.
because that's like her favorite in the whole wide world. Whereas me, I have some weird anime tastes in that I really love sports anime, even though they're all the same and terrible, but I love them because they're so silly. And then I go to like a lot of the classics, like Trigun, Cowboy Bebop, Full Metal Alchemist, that kind of stuff. That's like my spectrum of anime where I'm happiest. Although I was told about a new anime that I have to watch by a friend at work, so I supposedly have to watch it. But from my recollection, because I have heard that My Dress Up Darling was actually very, very good, and I believe, Wei Ming, you can correct me on this, I believe it's also Slice of Life, which is my wife's like genre jam.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
I guess the question is which service is it on? If it's like Crunchyroll, that's easy peasy, right?
Yeah, usually everything's on Crunchyroll now.
Not everything though. Yeah.
Even more
Uh,
obscure stuff isn't though.
Johnny, our gift card sales have been massive compared to previous years. Clearly that's all from my influence. I believe I need a certain amount of commission. Kidding. I love giving away gift cards to Dan's Fish just because I love his business model. And Dan, and I guess Johnny, well, I'm kidding. Like Johnny actually takes his time to be in my chats, which I appreciate so much, man. But I love so many of the staff that are there. I loved when you guys were doing the like little interview profiles of the staff because getting to know the staff members kind of parasocially through videos was always really amusing to me. But I'm weird like that. I like knowing the characters that make a business run.
Oh,
Yeah.
Bentley, if there's if you want to, you could actually fix my Fuki to make it look like it's bright. So it doesn't look like it's hiding in the shadow the whole time if you want.
I mean, when you're talking, it's bright.
Yeah, but when I'm not talking, it can remain bright too, so people can see it better if you want. That's only up to you. I
You
was
would
just
have to.
noticing it
You
going
would have
down.
to. You'd have to tell me how to do that.
Okay,
I mean, maybe type it out. And
got a message for you.
uh,
Yeah, that's totally up to you. I apologize. It's like
that's
I
probably a setting we need to worry about later.
yeah, no worries, no worries. I apologize.
How dare you? Morgan,
Perfect.
I started using estimated index. Okay, so that's EI. That's what if you've ever heard EI method of doing fertilizer dosage. That's what that stands for. Is estimated index.
Mm.
Instead of helping my Anubis barderi, I started getting holes all over the leaves. What could that mean? So 95% of the time when you get holes in your leaves, it means usually there's some kind of potassium deficiency, which is relatively easy to fix. You just dose a little extra potassium. And as long as you're careful about it and you don't like dump the whole thing in there, right? It's pretty hard to put potassium in such an excess that it causes either A, some type of algae bloom, or B, some other kind of problem. Potassium is, I don't want to say okay to overdose because somebody will go like unhinged on me, I'm sure. But it's more one of those things where it's like a little extra potassium is not going to kill you. Um, and it could be that just the difference between your previous amount of potassium in whatever fertilizer you're using versus the estimated index is just bringing down the raw potassium a little bit to a point of where you're dealing with those holes. Occasionally, that, and this is where it's rare, and that's why I said like 95% of the time it's potassium, it can be linked to some of your other micronutrients. So one of the other kind of like fixes, and this is usually the broad scale version that I tend to suggest to people, is if you're using something like a Flourish Trace, or in your case, if you have a macro versus micro mix in your EI, add just like the akin of one extra dose of micros a week. And you should see that kind of fix a lot of the problems in mass. But I could understand where you might want to be a little more careful and dose specifically potassium first and see what happens. Usually, the extra potassium fixes the problem over time. Don't expect the holes in the leaves to repair themselves, but watch the new growth and make sure that you don't start seeing holes in the new growth as it is slowly going over time and kind of fixing itself. We'll put quotation marks around that because it's the new growth we're going to start worrying about. The old growth will have those holes, and eventually we'll just get rid of the old growth and not worry about it. That helps. My fish tanks aquatics. What was the final outcome of the Anoxic experiment? So, Johnny, I see your inflammatory question. We're going to have words in a minute. The short answer, it's technically not over. The long answer, how many minutes into the stream are we? 18? Cool. Ain't done shit. It really, the difference, and so to So, I do have a video. I probably want to do it like tail end of the year, maybe first of next year. Um, I'm trying to get extra data to be safe about it. Instead of dosing vodka, I started dosing a pinch, and a pinch is the measurement. So you know the small measuring spoons where it says pinch, smidgen, all that kind of nonsense. Pinch of food every other day at first, and then let the tank get used to that. That was only for about 2 weeks or so, and then I started doing a pinch almost every day. There are a few days I've skipped, mostly because it was like I got home from work, I was tired, and I had other stuff I needed to do, so I forgot. Uh, but it's been getting a pinch of food, so it's a reasonable dosage of food to account for probably like a medium stocking of fish in that tank. And it really hasn't mattered. But that's providing our carbon source, which is fixing that initial problem. The one problem I did see is that because the food sits, it kind of would start to foul. So when I'm doing a water change, rather than just topping off, I have to do a very brief, like, vacuum up of old food, which is not bringing out a significant amount of water, maybe like 2-3% of the tank's volume, and then it's top off and try to leave the system relatively in check. But yeah, it's basically done nothing. Now, I know I will get comments about this at some point, somewhere, where they're going to be like, it's because you haven't given it long enough. Like, I don't know how good I would feel about a system where your perpetual answer is it hasn't been long enough for it to get to a point when aerobic bacteria systems can be done long enough in like a week. It's kind of silly, but people love defending Anoxic to a point, and it's like I get it, but is it the Anoxic system, or is it just because it's plants and they're getting a little extra boost because water flow is intentionally being pulled down through the roots, right? And then it's like it's not so much Anoxic bacteria doing the work as it is plants. And in that case, I would say yes, plants are amazing filters, and you're correct. You should have plants in every tank, right? Right. That's like the core of my ideals in life is like plants in a tank. Yes, do it. But I don't know. Okay, honey, I need you to help me on this one.
Okay,
Johnny
what's up?
Johnny has said something rather inflammatory.
Uh-oh.
Why is Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood worse than Full Metal Alchemist?
Uh, you know, I can't I can't answer that very well because they both provide such different sides of the story. But like, so I think honestly for me, Full Metal Alchemist was almost darker than Brotherhood just because of what happens with, well, I won't spoil it, but we know we know what happens if you've seen it. She's around a lot longer.
So you feel that regular Full Metal Alchemist is darker than Brotherhood?
Actually, yeah.
Because I would argue if you go through the course of the entirety of the series, there is a lot more light-hearted episodes in regular Full Metal Alchemist than in Brotherhood.
I will give you that, but I feel like the harder, heavy hitting stuff was like, well, except in some scenes, obviously, but like in
It hits
certain,
harder, sure.
yeah, it's like it's a gut punch harder than like easing into like the crap you're getting into.
I would say that they're both great series to watch. However, Brotherhood as a core story is better.
Yes, I absolutely do agree with that, but I would encourage you to watch both because they both like intertwine with each other.
Yeah. Yes.
So if
Also,
you actually get, oh,
the
sorry, go ahead.
the two best fights are in Brotherhood.
Oh, absolutely. That, yeah, Roy Mustang is so much better in a Brotherhood. Like there's no doubt in my mind.
I'm I'm biased because Roy Mustang's my favorite character.
I'm a
So,
shrimp for Roy Mustang. I'm sorry.
although also I love Armstrong, and Armstrong's great in both series. So, you know, although I feel
Like,
like the sister's better in Brotherhood.
yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, she's great.
Olivier is something else. All right, all right, all right. Wei Ming would like you to know that they are a retired animator. So yeah,
Really? That's
they
so
love anime.
cool. That's so awesome. Like my lifelong dream was to be like a voice actress for anime. And I get to do it, but like it's just a big hobby of mine now.
Dude, like that industry is so hard to break into.
Well, especially with all the junk that's happening right now.
Yeah. Lee! Good to see you, Lee. Happy holidays, Bentley. Thanks for all the amazing content this year. You are appreciated.
Aww.
If I were to be like brutally honest with myself, and then afterward we'll do the first giveaway, I would say the information in my content has been better, but the actual quality of my content has been less. I feel like I could have done better, but a lot of that was just I only have so much time, and my editing skills are only so good. So when I'm editing it to do it really, really well, it takes me like hours and hours and hours. Where like a good editor, and I'm not talking like somebody who's as good as like say Jimmy, who used to work for the Aquarium Co-op, right? Like that guy is a wizard. I don't know how he does what he does as fast as he does, but to do it to a quality similar to some of the other channels out there that I really like, who have their own editors, would take me probably like 20 hours for freaking 15-minute video, and that's not tenable with my my life. I would be like, I get home from work and I edit and I edit and I edit and edit, and then I basically never see my wife, and I'm pretty sure that would end up in me being like, you know, in an early grave. So balance of life, but yeah. Thank you, I appreciate it. Uh-oh.
You know, Johnny, you're absolutely right. It is like the same 10 people in in anime voice acting. I swear it's true.
Second, what are you barking at?
It's
You're barking at nothing. Shantoto wants to be a part of the stream apparently by barking. So Regina broke down about FLX 15, which used to be back here. And eventually I'll have a tank again, but it stresses people out a lot. I get questions about all of them, so I don't have a tank back there anymore.
well. You know what? I like the print back there. It's very nice.
I do have a different poster I want to swap out at the, like, maybe right after Christmas or something, when I have a few days off to mess some stuff around. My original plan was to rotate the posters like once a month, but then we got into modes of doing other stuff, and my brain was like, forget. But anyway,
right.
Bought a Flex 13 with cherry shrimp to move the inhabitants to a 20 long. Oh my god, it took me 2 hours to catch all the cherry shrimp and shrimplets.
Oh, no. Shrimplets? Is that what they're called?
Yes, they call baby shrimp shrimplets.
Oh my god.
Those noises are my wife. Yes, they are real. This is what happens when she sees cute things. It's pretty adorable.
God, I'm so sorry.
That's why I call her a living anime character, is because she does that kind of stuff, and I do this all the time. Makes me smile. It's amusing. Nathan Hovey, Fertilizer says 5 milliliters per 10 gallons once a week, or as needed. Want to dose daily on a 40 breeder. How much should I dose? Okay, so our easy math will tell us that the goal is to dose 20 milliliters once a week, according to the fertilizer. So if we split that over the days, what I would instead do is kind of take whatever is every 5 days. Well, okay. So you're looking at 20 milliliters a week, right? So you could kind of easily dose 3 milliliters a day. That would put you at 21 over 7 days. But what I would actually rather do is something closer to like 4 milliliters a day. And then whenever your weekly water changes, on that day, dose nothing. Have one day where all you're doing is purging excess nutrients out of the tank with your water change and kind of having a reset. We'll put that in quotation marks, right? We just want to think of it as a reset. It's not really a reset. Just think of it that way. And then start again. So like 4 milliliters every day for 6 days. The 24 milliliters, it's a little excess. If you're really light on your planting, or you have like only say Anubias and Java Fern, which aren't super demanding, you might start with 3 milliliters per day and see how that goes, and then maybe after 2 to 3 weeks, try upping it to 4, and just kind of monitor your algae. If you start seeing a lot of surface algae grow, or maybe like hair algae start pop up, bring it back down to that 3 milliliters. That would be the way that I would approach it, Nathan. Hopefully that helps. I gotta catch up on chat because I know I'm way behind. Dean's Fish Room! Oh, Dean, it's good to see you, buddy. I actually have to talk to you soon. For reasons. Because you and I are supposedly the only 2 people in the US with something, and I need to talk to you about it. Or at least that's what I was told. That might have changed by now, but Dean, it's good to see you. I couldn't make the holiday party if you went to that for the club, mostly because I hate the chairs that are at the venue that we go to. They're very uncomfortable for me, but that's my problem because I'm a giant person. It's good to see you, Dean. Dean, you probably don't know this, but maybe you do. Do you have any clue when the expansion of the co-op's going to open? Because I really want to go see it when it's done and finished and see it complete in all its glory. I've seen so many people like drop by and take pictures of it, and like they're like poking in through the windows, taking pictures of it. Well, it's looking great, and the few videos that he's shown, I'm just wondering, Oh, and he's got those epistos that Dan got. At Bentley's wife, I call all of my newborn fry little biddles.
Oh my god, is this gonna be like a night where like people are just gonna tell me cute things and I just make noises?
I've never baby talked to any animal or human. Always hated baby talk. But let me see a fish and its baby grab all day.
Oh my god, I'm sorry.
I do it to so many mostly like dogs especially. That's where I'll break out that voice. I try not to as they get older, but when they're puppies, I can't help it. Puppies just
they're iddles.
They click the brain over. My CRT fell on me. What a great name. I saw your video on tank fertilizers and avoided that mess getting easy green. Been working really well for my green water cultures and stuff. Oh yeah. I mean, easy green is naturally slightly higher in nitrates, so it actually can be amazing for starting green water cultures because of just the breakdown that's in their fertilizer. Glad it's working. I love all-in-ones. They're way easier. I can be totally brain dead about them. You wanted to say something, sweetie?
Oh, I was correcting myself. So they're iddles. That's still that's even cuter. Oh my god. Oh my gosh.
Iddles is very good. Hold on. Saw another one. Carlos Diaz, longtime lurker, first time chatter. I discovered Asian leeches in my tank. Should I worry about it or just let the fish handle it? Okay, so it has been a while since I've read on them. I need to like speed Google search to remind myself something. Because I seem to recall they're not that scary. Because they can come in on plants. I know that a lot of like those things like that come in through plants. This is what I'm looking for. I can even tell by the link. I'm not showing it on screen, but it's purple, so clearly I've been here before. Just the question is, how long ago?
Oh wow.
Type of tube worm. Right.
Look at all those tabs. No kidding. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, you have screen share, so you actually see what's going on.
So sorry.
That's what I'm looking for. Shh, I'm a tab guru. I always have like a million tabs. You think this is bad? You should see me at work.
Oh gosh, I can't even imagine.
I have multiple windows open. I have so many tabs.
Wow, that's impressive.
And yet I can keep track of all of it.
That is even more impressive.
Right, so they're kind of like a substrate worm. So It depends on what you have in there. Because, like, the example I would give you, Carlos, is if you're trying to keep shrimp, that's where we would need to do something. Because they are a threat to shrimp. But it might not be obvious right away because you might not see really obvious reactions. The problem is you would probably need to relocate your shrimp to a different tank, medicate that tank, because the medications you would need to use are usually dangerous to shrimp. However, if it's purely fish, less of a threat, especially if they're upper water column fish. Now, if you have stuff that's going to be constantly in the substrate, there are some very small risks. I would say if you know any exotic veterinarians, you might call them because they're going to know a lot more than me. I'm probably the worst person when it comes to parasites and diseases. I'm really bad at those. I've been fairly lucky in that I keep a fish that basically 99 times out of 100, the reason if it's ill, it died is because it got mycobacterium, and that's why. Because rainbows are just so susceptible to mycobacterium, aka fish tuberculosis, because there's just something in their genetics and their immune system, the time they've been in the hobby, blah 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 blah. There's like a million reasons that bowheads will give you, but they're really susceptible to it. So the few times I've dealt with disease has almost always been that, and like one columnaris. And other than that, that's not true. I've had ick before, but who hasn't dealt with ick? Other than that, I haven't dealt with a lot of diseases, so I'm not necessarily the best disease parasite person. Technically, we're not talking full on parasite because leeches are in their own category of annoying. But yeah, that's my starter information, which is to say that's the extent of my minimal knowledge. I just had to go like look at an article to remind myself because probably haven't read on that in like 6 years, 5 years, something like that. Alex sent you. Oh, thank you. Well, Alex, need to go harass that guy in person sometime soon. We had planned a while back to like get together and do a pair of videos with each other, and then we both got super busy. Such is the way of life, right? Such is the way of life. Okay. I've gone off kilter. We're gonna do this. We'll give everybody like a minute or so, but hashtag Fishmas. We'll re-put it in chat here. That's incorrect. That's the wrong one. And again, I would ask. There's the keyword. I would ask you guys, anybody who's thinking of super chatting, anything like that. There's a pinned comment from myself that's the Give Send Go. That's to help the family who lost Papa Limo's like best friend in the whole wide world, Onyx the Husky. I would instead ask you to take whatever that amount is and donate to their Give Send Go. I believe very heavily in pay it forward. So, we're doing okay. I would rather give a little love to them because unfortunately, despite the fact, not only did they lose their like, let's be honest, their son, right? It's our fur babies. Any of us who have dogs, they're our kids. They lost their boy. They also have a atrociously large vet bill for the amount of time that he was in doggy hospital. So, if you can, please, that would be my way to say thank you. Rather than do that for me, help them out. Appreciate it. Okay, so we'll give a few minutes. Let the last few people get into that one. Although we've got quite a few, 61 entries, and according to this, like 100 people in chat. So like half a chat. Come on, chat, you're slacking. Hashtag Fishmas if you want to get in. And a reminder that'll be a $50 gift card to kind of anywhere you want, but would generally prefer if you choose like a small fish business. We'll put that in quotation marks. So like, I say small fish business, but I'll be like aquarium co-op. Fine, they're not really small. They're getting kind of big, but they're not like
imagine
Petco.
doing the Price is Right hand motions with the gift card.
Dan's Fish, I'm pretty sure you can do them for fish keeping. I haven't looked at their website a bit, but I'm sure they've got a gift card feature. But anything like that. If I were to do it myself, I would say, hey, Dan's Fish is pretty awesome. They've got a lot of new stuff that came in recently. That Dean got fish from them. But, I'll let you pick your poison. And in the meantime, we can quickly answer this question from Sid Miller that I just lost because I'm catching up on chat. so far behind. Sorry. Hypothetically, rainbows have dispersed from the hobby entirely. Have disappeared from the hobby entirely. What do you swap to? Barbs, Resboras, Danios, Tetras, or Sudamagils? Madagascar rainbows are gone too. So in the nightmare scenario that all rainbow fish are gone from the world, in the sense of hobbies, or hobbyists, so I cannot keep a rainbow fish. What would I keep? Ooh, ooh, man, that's like my entire fish identity. You're like depersoning my hobby. It's rough. Actually, like I would probably slip back to what has been like my family's favorite thing for an eternity, which is angelfish. Or when I was a kid, my target, my goldfish, my like dream fish was always discus. But then I saw rainbows and went those because there's so much more color and pattern. While don't get me wrong, discus have lots of color, but they're also kind of big shy babies. And the discus I love the most are wild discus, which have a lot less color than some of the really cool genetic line breeds that we have out there now, like your pigeon bloods and all that kind of stuff, right? But yeah, I would think angelfish would probably be my go-to. It's either that or I really, really love a lot of the Daimyo species. So like Hyacinth Daimyos, Leopard Daimyos, Gold Ring Daimyos. I love a lot of those fish. I would be really tempted to keep those. Not so much Tetras, although there's some Tetras I do like a lot. Like the Kochu Blue Tetra is an example. I've had those for quite a while. But yeah, that's what I would. That's what it'd be on. So yeah. All right, let's do giveaway. Let's give people some stuff, some things. It's funny that my giveaway page is much more caught up on chat than I am. All right, here we go. Choose a winner. Oh, I totally realized that I need to. Okay, it's posting in chat. That's good. I meant to share this on screen, but Mega Champ. Let's go, champ! Congratulations, you're the first winner. You're the first winner. Oh no. I accidentally closed my YouTube studio.
Oop.
This is the only disadvantage to having 8 billion tabs. Is that the icons get really small. All right, we're back. We fixed it. We fixed it. Hey. Oh, I make mistakes. I know you're here, champ, because you're always like lurking, but there you are. Let's go, champion chat. Make sure to email me so I know you're subscribed because you're a member. Shoot me an email. We can figure out where you want a gift card to. You're the first winner. Man, I'll sometimes I love when people have a literal catchphrase that they've become a part of in chat because I get to change stuff. All right, we're gonna do a different one. Let me do this. We're gonna do. Oh, this is correct. I'm gonna do a new hashtag. What's a hashtag? What should we use? Honey, what's your hashtag of choice? Are you muted? Did you mute yourself?
Oh my gosh, I'm such a dummy. I'm like, I'm trying to talk. I'm like, why can no one hear me? Oh my god, I'm so dumb. I don't know what. Let's see.
Johnny.
I don't know why this hashtag is going into my brain, but it's like hashtag shrimp that.
Shrimp that? Man.
Yeah.
I feel like I should have to give away a gift card to Shrimpy Business for that hashtag.
Oh, fair.
All right, so hashtag shrimp that is the new one. I'll put it in chat so that people can easy copy cheat. Bam, that's going to enter the next one. We will replay crew. Don't worry, we're going to have a giveaway just for you too. So that means for all of you who are here live, if you go back to the replay and just put in the code, because you'll get that eventually, we'll do one for the replay crew as well. So don't do ones that's not everybody has to be live, but yeah. And now we'll never catch up on chat.
You're forever lost.
Wei Ming, how come you don't like Hillstream Loaches? I do like Hillstream Loaches. We're actually going to buy Hillstream Loaches for brother-in-law James's tank that he escaped. Because
what? We're buying more loaches?
Hillstream Loaches, the ones that look like kind of little sucker face aliens.
Oh my
They're
goodness.
they're great fish. So because we have swords in there, we don't want to put plecos in because the plecos will eat the swords. So we're going to use Hillstream Loaches to do some of our like surface algae cleanup, which I actually am hoping to make a trip to purchase some sometime in the holiday mess where I have days off and stuff. That'll help.
Mm-hmm.
This has been busy lately. Pearl Danios, also another great fish. Yes. Yes. So are pearl gouramis. All the pearl something fish, because there's also they sometimes refer to them as the pearl shell dweller. The shellies that have like a spotty pearl pattern. They're really cool. Very pretty. Leo, why are rainbows so pretty, but so dumb? Well, we have some person who actually like takes offense to every time I say that rainbows are dumb, which I find funny. I've had multiple comments from that person recently, and I find it amusing, mostly because it's like I don't know what the goal is of like challenging that. It's just like rainbows are singularly focused. So, like as an example, if a rainbow's goal is to court a female at the time, they will forget about everything around them, wood, rock, anything. So they'll like bash their faces into stuff all the time. They hurt themselves because they will focus so singularly on whatever it is their thing at the time. And it's that's why we relatively often refer to as rainbows as dumb, because they do many a dumb thing. However, what could also be stated is that rainbows also like get so excited about things that they'll like leap out of a tank if you don't have a lid, as an example, or something like that. And it's this is many of the reasons why we're like, yeah, rainbows can be kind of dumb. It's rainbows can do some really dumb stuff from time to time, but we love them anyway. You know, it's just one of those. It's one of those. It's done in a loving way from like the bow keeping community. Oh no. Johnny, why do you send me all these crazy scientific names? If it's not one of the big three, I don't know what it is. Tanganyika and killifish. That ain't a rainbow. I mean, its body looks like one, which is kind of wild. But it's technically a killifish. And you know why, right? You know why, I mean? Because that's a class of if you look at everything, so like here, let me grab a picture of them real fast, and we'll show chat. Save this thing. So, here's good. You guys get to see like me work in the slowest method possible in real time. It's great. Sometimes you gotta be a little bit of a dummy. Okay, there's that. And then definitely have to make this slightly bigger. We'll put it over on this side of my head. We'll let the Christmas lights not be on top of it. Yeah, we'll get it slightly bigger. We can obscure my face for a minute. I know it's a little blurry, but if you look at like the body shape and the fin pattern, they look a lot like a rainbow fish. A lot like a rainbow fish. But they're a killifish. So they're not the best rainbow, clearly. Clearly. um, what I will say is that they at least have a really nice iridescence to them. But yeah, man. I mean, there's so many other things in like the rainbow fish world that you could keep that even with those colors, right? You could get those colors in different ways, like the like guru fish, or even like species lobo is like a reasonable one. Yeah, yeah. It's lots of stuff that can give you that kind of pattern. Kick that away. I gotta look at my ugly mug again. Johnny's just here to be inflammatory today. I see how it is. That's his holiday spirit.
Tisk tisk.
Uh, Louisi Liberis. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. I'm sorry. I have 10 GH, 6 KH, 8.2 pH. Would rainbows like my water, or is it too hard? Honestly, I think a majority of the rainbows would be fine. The only cases where you might run into some issues are some of the like river and stream rainbow fish. So I'd stick more to the lake rainbows, which typically usually is like the melanotanias, the bigger ones. Most of your chilatherinas tend to be stream fish. Always. Some of your glossolepis are lake fish too. So that's where you have some good options. My real thing would be if you have anyone who keeps rainbow fish in the area you're in, they're probably already adapted to that type of water. Rainbow fish are really, really adaptable. They can handle a pretty broad variety of water parameters. So I wouldn't be too stressed about it. I would say that you have a good option as long as you're not getting something really, really crazy, which that's not too crazy. I know it sounds, for those of us who are in like soft water, we're like 10 GH. Why not? Right? Like my water's got like nothing in it, so that's quite a bit for me. But um even then, I know lots of people in like Ohio and the Midwest where in the portions of the Midwest that does have very hard water. I know there are some portions that are not hard water. Some of you Midwesterners love to kill me on that. I know. But there are people that live in areas where they do have fairly hard water and keep rainbow fish very successfully. Where there are some very rare ones that are softwater fish, like the Jacora. Those are the ones you have to avoid at all costs because they have to be in like lightly acidic water. They have to be in softer pH, softer water in general. But a majority of rainbows you'll be fine with. So yeah, should be fine. Should be fine. I'm realizing like how far behind my preview is compared to my actual video. All right, let's see here. Gonna catch up to chat through the shrimp that spam. Oh yeah, Nightbot for spammers. I usually don't turn the spam mode on because I don't want it to disqualify people. I'm a generous soul. I can't help it. But yeah, some people do spam a little hard. But usually that's not my chat. We're pretty chill here. My pecos don't touch any of my plants, even the Amazon swords. How did you figure out this voodoo and teach me? Because mine, like it's especially bad with Ancestris, so I don't know which type you have, but like all your bristle nose, they will devour swords. It's like their favorite treat in the world, or at least that has been my experience with almost every pleco I've kept. Whether it was the L 333, 3333, 3333, 3333 King Tigers, or I had Blue Phantoms for a while. I've had couple others. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. I'm forgetting, but I've had a couple of different types of plecos that I kept just for fun. And anytime they were in a tank with a sword, that sword always had like obvious holes from plecos eating them, and it's like, I feed you plenty. Quit it. Chocolate and lemon blue, I don't, in my experience, per Nathan. That's good to know. Unfortunately, I keep all like super reds, and they love to. At least mine do. Said Ginger. I say rainbows are dumb all the time. Come at me, bro. I mean, if you're comparing to like average human intelligence, yeah, it's not even fair, right? But you know, to other fish, there are plenty of fish that are not not intelligent, and there are fish that are surprisingly intelligent. I mean, you look at how social many cichlids are; they're pretty intelligent fish. Rainbows are, well, they're very pretty. Oh man. Surely, have you ever or would you ever try killifish? If so, have any caught your eye? Okay, so here's what I think with killies. The killies I like the most are annual fish, and I typically don't allow enough time or effort in my fish keeping to actively breed them correctly so that I can continuously have them. So like there's the ones I can't remember their name, but they have like a black body with basically like blue dotted patterns on them. I love the way those look, but they're an annual, and that means I would if I bought them at a fish store, I'd have them for like 4 or 5 months, and then they'd be dead, and it'd be very sad. uh, but there are some killies I like. I just in the end I typically go like I could keep a killifish, or I have room for rainbow fish, and I almost always choose rainbow fish just because I love a lot of their behavior. I kind of like the fact that they're like beautiful dummies. Sometimes it gives me a giggle when they do silly, stupid things, uh, and I've gotten so used to when they hurt themselves not to panic. So, yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things where you find that thing you really love and you just kind of stick to it. Although there'll be some stuff that I'll branch out to eventually over time. I'll just try them because it will be fun. Any questions, by the way, from my wife? Feel free. She's here. I have a question for you, honey.
What's up?
When are we doing your tank?
Oh, yeah.
Now that my wrist
New
is
Year's,
healed,
New
'cause
Year's resolution?
maybe, or maybe like during the holidays, we have some time. We can start trying to get stuff worked on.
Yeah, that'd be fun. I'd enjoy that.
Because yeah, people occasionally beat me up like, "Hey, when are we getting this tank?"
Yeah.
My
But I don't
excuse,
think they'll like the
my
I don't think
my
they'll like the thing I want to put in it though.
they will, they will. People love everything. Trust me. You could have the pineapple hut from SpongeBob in there, and people will find a way. Not that we're doing that, because
That's exactly what we're doing, guys.
Beta Aquatics rainbow jumpers. Oh yeah, rainbows are jumpers. They will jump. The most common time I've seen them jump is when they get overly excited at feeding time, and they'll try to water strike, and they'll go way too fast and fly clean out of the tank.
Honey, would you like to tell this story about when I saved the rainbow from said jump?
Okay, so we were about to go out. I think we were going to see our friends. I'm I'm not 100% sure, but I think we were going out to see our friends that live about an hour away, in what's called Snohomish, and I had just finished doing a water change on what is now my retirement tank, but at the time was still a display tank, and my wife was in there watching the rainbows because after a water change, they get extra excited, they color up, they're all happy, and I left the lid to the tank open because I was putting my python away. And so she's standing there, and one just like flies out of the tank. And and I'm in the other room, like putting the python away, and she's like, honey, there's a rainbow that's in this box here. And I'm assuming it like happened in the middle of the night or something and it's dead. And I'm like, oh well, I'll get it later. And she's like, no, it's still alive. And I just go, okay, so put it back in the tank. And for some reason, like in the panic, and maybe it was my tone of voice, I'm not sure. She was like, how? I was like, well, if the box is small enough, just pick the box up and dump it in the tank. Otherwise, there's a net right here. Pick it up with the net and dump it in the tank. so we can get water and breathe.
I felt so bad. I was like, oh my gosh, what do I do? Do I rinse it off? Like, oh my gosh, and I was like, I don't know.
And she was worried about like dirt, or at the time we had cats, like cat hair or something. And it was like, oh, just
I
put
was
it in the
just,
water, it'll be fine.
I was just like, I'm just being extra careful. I'm sorry.
Anyway, like I start like walking quickly to get over there just in case, and then she gets it back in the tank, and it's just like, for anyone who's had a fish that's been out of water for a little bit, you get it, not too long, but a little bit to where it's got that stress and it needs to kind of reoxygenate itself. Uh, and you just see a fish that's like kind of lethargic sit there, and she's like, "Is it gonna be okay?" And I'm like, "It's in the water. Just
I
let
was
it do
so
its thing."
bad.
And like by the time we got back like late that night, and she makes me turn the tank light on to make sure the fish is okay and not dead.
I know.
And I'm like, okay. So this is the tank that has like the not so grand beams works on it. So instead of doing that, I took like my cell phone and just shined a light through the top glass, and they all come like zipping over to beg for food, and there's that fish just fine. It's like, yeah, we're okay. That I think it was, if I remember right, it was a Melanitania parva, and yeah, it just comes on over. It's like, hey, food, food, food. Like, they're fine, honey. Put a little bit of food in the tank because I teased him with light, and we went about the rest of our night. It's just like, put it in the tank. How? It's the fun things that we have to laugh at in life, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh man. Okay. Amity Aquatics. Have you ever kept Lake Wanam rainbow fish? So that's the Wanamensis, and yes, I have. I love them. I had them in way back. I had some in my 90-gallon tank when my front room was like more of a display room. There's a couple of old fish tours where you can see them. And I unfortunately dealt with some issues in that tank, and all my one-ums died. It's one of the few times I got a non mycobacterium issue in a tank, and it took a number of my fish out, which really sucked. Really
Yeah.
sucked. But I'll eventually have them again because it's one of my favorite fish. I love the Wanamensis, which is the emerald rainbow, and I love the multisquamata, which is like the red version, the red dragon rainbow. I actually have some multisquamatas in one of my tanks, my kind of like default community tank, because the retirement tank I know has had myco in it, and I won't add any other fish to it until all the fish
Yeah.
in there have lived out their natural lifespan, and then I'll tear the tank down and it will go the way of the dodo. But yeah,
So it doesn't shorten their life, but it just makes them sick, right? I'm not quite sure how that works. I mean, it sucks that it happened, but
so Mycobacterium often shows itself in like lesions on the side of the fish's body. So you
oh,
remember when we saw like those like sores on the side of some of the fish?
yeah. Oh, poor,
That's
yeah.
what typically happens.
I see.
Most commonly, it will result in a shorter lifespan because eventually something will flare up. When they're really healthy and happy, their immune systems can kind of fight it off because Mycobacterium, in theory, exists in any given water system.
Sure.
Um, but rainbows are way more susceptible to it. And
Got it.
once one fish actually shows the problems of Mycobacterium, that's when it actually gets bad. Usually it's in such a low amount. And this is all kind of like, I'm describing this in a very pseudoscientific way and not a very
Sure.
accurate way, but uh, it's probably because, let's be frank, I only understand it so well about
Yeah.
like how it exists in all water columns, and yet rainbows can live just fine and never have it in some tanks, and then like it is the greatest plague known to man for rainbow fish keepers in another tank, because
Oh,
they're just, once they get it, it's game over.
gotcha.
You can't cure it. Um, yeah, as there's no cure, you can't fix the problem. It's just you either A, and like my my fish hero, if you will, Gary Lang, if he sees Myco, he euthanizes all the fish.
Oh, I see.
It's just nuke the site from orbit. But he's a breeder, so
Right, of
and the one
course.
thing he will do is sometimes if it's a really rare species, is he'll get a mop or two worth of eggs and try to start those eggs as fresh fry in a different tank to try and make sure he still has some of that fish and
Sure.
avoid the Great Myco curse. But I've talked to him before where he's had a tank of something that he couldn't get eggs from, and he had to kill all of them, and he just doesn't have
Oh,
that fish anymore. And the likelihood of him getting them again is like goose egg. Um, Most recently, that happened to. I'm sure there's been a different one by now, but he had it with a fish called Etnaensis, which I had for quite a while. I have like one lone female Etnaensis still alive in the retirement tank. So, that's a problem.
yeah. Mm.
But she's living out her life. But yeah,
Mhm.
it's Myco's like really scary for rainbow fish keepers because it's basically impossible to cure. A lot of other fish seem significantly less susceptible to it, which is nice, but it's just rainbows for some reason are like, what's this? What? Just it happens really, really fast, which really sucks. Okay,
Yeah.
we have a good question from Oinkmaster Supreme, aka Oinky. We love Oinky. Uh, Mrs. Pesco. Of course, happy holidays to you both. Have you ever kept crayfish? I unexpectedly will be becoming a mama to 3 of them on Thursday, emergency rehoming,
Oh,
and I hope I don't regret it.
congratulations.
And I hope I
Oh,
don't regret it. So, a lot of the crayfish, at least the ones that are kept in the hobby, are illegal in Washington.
oh,
They're considered on the no invasive species list because they're so dangerous to our natural water systems. We're basically not allowed to keep any crayfish in the state of Washington. So
I didn't know that. Wow.
now I know plenty of people, especially with the self-cloning Mexican crayfish. I know plenty of people who do keep them regardless because there are lots of we'll just say entities. We'll be broad with it online who will ship to Washington no matter what. They don't care. But a lot of those people buy them specifically to feed to like very large puffers. So like Mobu
Oh,
puffers or large size Fahaka puffers or even full size, say like a Cross River puffer, some of the big puffers, because
gotcha.
they are a fairly good because they're self cloning. They're a really cheap food source when you need to
Wait,
get to
you
the
weren't
larger
joking about
size.
that. Holy
No, they're
crap, that's
they're
cool.
self cloning. That's why they're really dangerous for water systems in Washington. Is because it only takes
Oh,
one, and there's no really natural predators in our water systems to take them out.
got it. Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, I could totally see that.
And they're very very destructive to a lot of the areas where like say salmon would spawn. So they will destroy the habitat areas and potentially the eggs, so the roe, before they ever have a chance to hatch. Very bad for our water
Yeah.
systems. So by that nature, no, I have never kept any crayfish. However, I have caught crayfish out of some of our water systems that are already infested. And then almost always thrown them back because that wasn't my goal. But yeah, they can be really easy to keep. Just you know, keep them in appropriate tanks, and hope you don't end up with like 10 million of them.
Not like
Sponge.
the crabs, like in, was it Norway or something? They're like deep under that like ice lake.
Well, those are king crab,
Yeah,
right?
king crab. That's right.
Which is like it is
They're
amazing because
huge.
that Icelandic area has turned that into a phenomenal industry because
Oh, have they?
it's so valuable. You have a bunch of people who have turned into crab divers that are
Oh,
harvesting those crabs, and they've been very careful to not over harvest them because they can keep them sustainably, and because it's such a luxury food item, it commands a huge price, and the ones that live there get absolutely enormous, so they're worth even more.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so they've turned it into a bit of a blessing to where they're fishing them at a rate that is sustainable, but also preventing them from becoming a problem.
Mm,
Yeah, they've them the Nordic countries, they're smart about those things. They do
that's
some
great.
really incredible things. Johnny, SpongeBob pineapple huts are the best Episto huts. I don't doubt it, man. They're the right shape and everything. All right, Zen Ginger, Bentley, and the wife. Do either of y'all have tattoos? And if so, are any of them fishy? I'm considering one and wondering how common they actually are in our community. I'll let you start.
Well, I don't have any, but I've actually been working on a health journey myself. So I feel like at the end of that journey, if I feel like I want some ink, I think I will.
And I know you have some specific stuff. Do you want to talk about what you like? There's the one you have a kind of a specific plan for, the smaller one. Do you want to talk about that?
Uh,
You don't have to. Just saying if you
I
want
ca-
to.
I actually kind of forgot. I feel so bad. I had an idea, but I can't remember what it was. I mean, probably like, I don't know. I can't remember. I feel so bad.
So I will say that
Memory
I
issues are.
I don't have any tattoos, and a lot of that is I'm how do I put this? My brother has a ton of tattoos. He's very thoroughly inked.
I was gonna say
Um
he has enough for the both of you.
yeah, I mean honestly he does. But like I'm talking like my brother has like a Triforce for those who are big Zelda fans under his eye over here. It's tiny. It's very, very small, but he has specifically a Triforce like right here on his eye. And like tattoos on his hands, all over his arms, chest, neck. Like my brother has a lot of tattoos, and some of them are amazing, and some of them I'm kind of like, I don't get it. But for me, I think my problem is I'm I'm such a pain in the ass in the sense that I would want something perfect, and I know that's not possible. So I would probably never be satisfied with anything. The coolest fish related tattoo I have seen though, uh, Randy, who works for the aquarium co-op, has this amazing like full forearm sleeve that I think now he's connected all the way up to like his shoulder, if I remember correctly. He had a plan for it. I'm sure by now he's done it, but he had this amazing forearm sleeve that is koi in full color, and it's gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. So I think that would be the closest to something I would be interested in is some kind of like if I was doing fish art would probably actually be koi related specifically. Um, but also I'm not a Pisces, which is the one that would make the most sense. Right, because you make two fish. If you're a Pisces, you can do that whole thing. If you're really into the astrological side of
Oh,
life,
you're in
uh,
astrology, honey.
whatever. You know,
I'm just teasing.
clearly I'm not because I'm not even getting the right one. So
I'm a Capricorn, so I don't know if that matters.
I'm a Sagittarius.
Mhm.
Shoot stuff. But yeah, I do know there are a number of people in the fish community who do have ink. I just don't know how many of them have tattoos specific to the hobby. I'm sure there's got to be some out there. But yeah, that's a that's a great like. You know what you should do with that Zen Ginger? If you go to a convention, start polling all the people off of YouTube. Who has a tattoo, and are any of them aquarium related? That would make for like an interesting bit of information, like a get to know your creators or like you get to know your fellow chatters kind of thing. Is like who has tattoos and what are they of in the sense of if they're fish related, what what do they have and why? You know, that would be fun. Who knows? Maybe that'll be like my weird question. 'Cause you know how I like doing weird questions for convention videos? Maybe that'll be my next weird question video. It's like, do you have tattoos and are any of them fish related?
Oh, apparently Ginger's a big Zelda fan. Do you wanna tell them about my ring?
I think I believe I showed this at some point somewhere, but so on my wife's wedding ring, I got a custom ring made for her back when I was working at Amazon, and it goes into a lot of our hobbies, but one of the things is so it has this like mirrored image where part if you like it like front to back on the ring is the same and then it's mirrored to the opposite side, so kind of like a chessboard, like if you had both the black squares versus both the white squares are the same image, and one of those is a harp because she likes the harp, and it's also representative of bars in Final Fantasy, which we're big Final Fantasy nerds. But along the strings of the harp are the initial notes to Zelda's Lullaby, which is her favorite video game song. So, yeah, I'm a giant nerd that commissioned a crazy ring.
I love it.
Okay, we can actually. I don't think I can find that like super fast. Maybe I can. Oh, you know how I can do this way faster is I can actually show you guys. Because there's this company called Takayas, which is in California, that does a lot of custom rings, mostly for game nerds, and they occasionally put some of the rings they craft onto a blog article. So I can do this. I'm gonna get you guys. I'll let you actually like see it briefly. Just have to go and you can see my 8 billion tabs. You'll all love it. I know. So this is a top down of this is a render of the ring and not the actual ring, but it's like almost perfectly exactly the same.
Yeah.
So you can kind of I know you don't really see my mouse very well, but like in the bottom right of the ring, you can see the top of the harp. And there's actually a better shot here. So like if you see on the right hand side with the harp, you can see the notes across the strings, and then the left side is a dragon wing, which represents something from one of our like D&D games that we played together. And then blue and purple are two of the favorite colors. Blue is my favorite color. Purple is her favorite color. So yeah, and the little gemstones are a part of what's supposed to be the dragon wing. And yeah, then also if you want to get really into it, how nerdy this is, there's two Moogles that are connected at the palm in the underside, kind of because she loves Moogles. And the very first gift I ever gave her, I came back from my Final Fantasy 14 convention called FanFest, and there's this like little throw blanket that is a Moogle. That was the first gift I ever gave her. So kind of throwing back to that. Yeah, I'm a big softie when it comes to some levels of sentimentality.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So that's what I did for my wife. That's the kind
I
of person I am.
know.
Yeah, I know. Thank you, thank you. It's all the artist. Like I totally designed nothing. I was working with the artist, and they're like, "Yeah, so we'll give you back a couple of renders, and then you can give feedback, and and like this process." And I sent them a couple pieces of art that are like, look nothing like that, but to give them references as kind of like where the inspiration comes from, and that other than like a very small change, and I'm talking a tiny change in the grand scheme of things, that was effectively the first render I received. And I was just like, the only change I had was, hey, can we put the notes directly on the strings of the harp? Because it wasn't originally on the strings. They were on a different place inside the ring. And instead I was like, hey, is there a way to get the notes directly across the strings of the harp? Because I think that would look really cool, because then it looks like sheet music as well as the harp.
That was
And
your idea? Aw.
it's the only change I made.
That's
Everything
like one of my
else
favorite parts.
was like perfect. And if you ever want to commission an expensive but amazing ring, they are incredible. They are really incredible. They have tons of like really interesting stuff. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh my gosh, I just realized you're wearing your Black Mage hat that I got you forever ago. I'm so dumb.
I love you. Let's give away some stuff. I think we've been babbling
Yeah.
enough. Oh, geez, we're like at end of stream.
Oh no.
Choose a winner. 64 entries. Okay, shrimp that last time. Hashtag shrimp that. Got to get that in there. Let people get a chance. I'll answer like one more question real fast, and then we'll get into it.
Blinky, I love that you love purple and blue together. It makes me so happy. It's like my favorite combination, like forever.
I gotta save this whatever Paul just sent me for later. Look at this.
Ooh,
That's
that's so
neat.
pretty.
The spade-tailed checkerboard cichlid. Here, we'll show
Wow.
everybody real fast. This is a suggested fish. Make sure this is looking correctly. Yeah, check that bad boy out. It's actually a pretty cool little cichlid.
It is. It's so
It's
I've never seen like a cichlid look so like bright before, or maybe I just haven't seen a lot of them. But
well, so like pistogrammas are cichlids. Technically, discus are
oh,
cichlids. Angelfish are technically cichlids. Cichlids is a really broad category. And if you go
oh,
look at if you go look at
gotcha.
a lot of like the African Rift Lake cichlids, they're very colorful. They look like saltwater fish.
Oh, that's so cool.
Richard Cox. I need closed captions. Wife and kiddo keep talking. Been watching for an hour. Only learned rainbows aren't going to Harvard anytime soon. Everything else is a blur.
You know what? Community college is there for everyone.
The high school with ashtrays is there for everyone, including me. That's where I went. I went to Bellevue College, which at the time was Bellevue Community College. They have 4-year degrees now. They've upgraded themselves. But that's where I went, and I don't even have a degree, and yet have a decent profession. So don't have
Hey,
to
you
go
know
to
what?
big schools to make money.
That's right.
Heck, I mean, most electricians actually make more money than I do.
It's
Uh,
crazy how much
well,
they can make.
there's But there's
Technically.
the big problem is like electricians, plumbers, a lot of your carpenters, they're getting too old because not a lot of young people, all those people who want to be YouTubers for a living, aren't going into those trades, and those trades pay very well, very very well.
Yeah.
It's
Hopefully
like
they'll realize that soon.
the average age of electrician is something like 56 years old. It's like kind of wild how old they are on average. It's like, wow, that's not good. We need them bad. Sharpie Aquatics. What is your favorite rainbow for a 40 breeder? See, my initial instinct is to say the Running River Rainbow because I'm like, I will probably be the biggest like bullhorn for that fish ever because of the way that they behave. However, um, the Chilatharina Upper Tor, Wapoga or Aleni Wapoga, and the Aves Creek Bozemanai are all like really good fish in a 40-gallon breeder. Just don't try to put like 30 of them in there. Put like 7, 8, and they're all great. They're all great for 40 breeders. They don't get crazy big, super fast. They in general can handle that like size tank. I've got Melantania Gary Lang eyes growing up in a 40 breeder right now. They're doing just fine. They've been there for like close to a year at this point. And they've gotten to the point where like they hit a certain size and they just slow to a crawl as far as how fast they grow unless I try to power feed them. And so they just like whip around constantly. They got plenty of swim space. There's like 12 of them in there, 13, something like that. They're doing just fine. They got all sorts of room to swim. They flash their colors. They court. They spar. There's a bajillion baby plecos in there at this point right now. Everybody's doing just fine. Just needs water changes. Call it a day. All right, give stuff away. Let's go. 72 entries. Oh, Matt M. Following status unknown, Matt M. Matt, verify that you're here for me. And see you say something in chat so that I know you're still here. Otherwise, we roll this bad boy again. Matt M, I'm here. Excellent. What I need you to do, Matt, you're going to have to email me at bentley.pasco@gmail.com. I messed that up. How do I mess up my own email? Shoot me an email. So if you don't make your who you're following public, it won't be able to read that, which is probably what's going on. If you keep like the channels you're subscribed to private, which even I do that, it won't show that. That's why. I'm pretty sure I've seen you more than a few times in chat. Congratulations, Matt. But yeah, shoot me an email, and then we'll figure out where you'd like your gift card to, and we'll get that going. At this point, I'm gonna let all of our esteemed replay crew, because they've waited so long, and we're definitely going over on our time. That's what happens when I just babble and my wife is here, and I don't feel an urgent need to run downstairs and have dinner and spend time with her. Also, I didn't work today because we had some stuff to do, so I don't feel like crazy exhausted post work. But yeah, good luck in the future. Mine are refusing to do the thing still for now. My Gary Langai aren't really spawning. They court, and the few times I ever see eggs, they're never living because there's too many fish in that tank. But they're doing well, and that's all I care about. They're pretty and they're having a good life. So for the replay crew, specifically, chat, we're not in on this one. Replay crew, here's what I need you to do. Hashtag wife.
Aw.
That's gonna be your giveaway. We will leave that open until I need to look at a calendar because my brain doesn't want to function. I will leave that open until end of the day, Saturday, December 21st, and I will do the drawing Saturday or December the 22nd on Sunday, right before the depression kicks in for football again, because I swear to the football deities, if my Seahawks play like they did last Sunday, I'm going to be very, very, very upset. Very upset. Chat, you are all welcome once the replay comes out to go ahead and do hashtag wife in the comments. That'll get you into the drawing as well. No holding back. You're welcome to. I just want to make sure that the folks who can't be here live also have an opportunity to win something. And out of hashtag wife, I will choose 2 winners. So we'll have 2 gift cards to the replay crew. We had 2 gift cards for the live, which also the live can go in the replay crew and play by the rules that Benton has set. Bend the rules to your favor. Always bend the rules to your favor. Anyway, gang, I want to thank you all for being here. I hope, just because next week being Christmas Eve, we will not have a stream. Hope you all have a fantastic Christmas. And wait a minute, I gotta look at a calendar again. Does that mean we also don't? Yeah, we also won't be streaming for New Year's Eve because that's my wife's birthday and my anniversary.
Yeah.
So basically, if I don't dedicate that day to her, I probably will be sleeping on the porch outside, even though I won't say anything beyond that. I can't mess that day up. If I mess that day up, it's bad news bears, right? All of you who have spouses, you know what I'm talking about. If your anniversary was also your spouse's birthday, you would understand the levity and direness to not screw that up. Right? Right. We can all agree on this. So I will see you all next year. I know it's such a long time, but I will see you all next year. Thank you all so much for watching. And as always, stay awesome. Bye-bye. So festive. My wife suggested these, by the way. Okay, bye now.